Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 7 of Sunrise on the Reaping. I can wait to read this chapter, if I'm being honest, because once again, I honestly think that it is going to stab me in the gut and go away while I'm lying there in my own blood or something like that. I can absolutely wait, but I really do want to read this. I really do want to read this book and learn more about what happens with Haymitch's character. Genuinely tell me in the comments if you struggled with this book too, not from the sense of like poor writing or poor characterization or anything along those lines, because so far the book has been extremely brilliant. It's not that, it's just how heavy the book is that makes me want to like pause it and not read it for a while before I go back into it. Doesn't really help that I am kind of in that depressed mind space, so it's like more heavy depressing stuff to read on top of being already depressed. So it's kind of chaotic, but I'm gonna push through. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm excited to read 7th chapter. Let's get started. The very first line is, I don't cry much in general, only when people die, and then I cry hard and fast and ugly, which is what I do now. Oh. And while Lenora Dove will forever be my true love, Luella is my one and only sweetheart. Listen, stop it. I just said I can't read this heavy stuff, right? I knew it was going to come and stab me in the gut or something along those lines. God damn it. Magno wanting the costume back so that he can potentially give it to the next group of tributes from District 12 next year. Oh, this guy pisses me off so much. Why the goddamn hell is there a camera in the bathroom? What the actual goddamn hell? These are kids. I mean, ew. No, ew, that's so disgusting. Oh my god. Okay, I thought that it would stab me in the gut from grief, but it is just making me angry right now. God damn it. Because the sentence literally states, when Max goes closing the door behind her, I throw a towel over the camera for some privacy, not caring at all if they punish me for it. So Haymitch somewhere deep down knows that he might be punished for covering up the camera and having some privacy or some, illusion of privacy. But that is so vile. Oh, I hate it. Oh my God. I'm just reading about Haymitch sitting down in the hot tub, and it's luxuries, right? But luxuries at what cost? Oh, I don't know if Max intentionally or unintentionally ordered something that Haymitch feels close to. And what this makes me think is that somewhere in the previous Hunger Games, when the tributes came around, and Max must have potentially mentored District 12 in the past as well. Either like the victors are being rotated around so that someone is consistently mentoring District 12, but maybe Max spoke to some tribute who grew close to her, and they told her about the importance of bean and ham hock soup being something that might be a potential specialty from District 12. Like, yeah, I know that Haymitch said that this was something that his mom made, but maybe the soup is synonymous with death, but also with comfort for a lot of District 12 tributes. And so someone must have told Max in the past, and that's why she ordered it again, especially after Luella's death. Ooh. The headcanons I create sometimes often hurts me more than the canon stuff that I'm reading. I tend to do this to myself, and now I'm doing it to you so that you suffer along with me. The fact that they stayed in barracks last year is kind of crazy. Oh, we really do see how much there is still space for the growth to happen in terms of how it goes from something which is potentially televised and potentially, filmed to use for entertainment for Capital members, sustaining them for an entire year until the next group of tributes come around, to what we see in the later years of the Hunger Games. And Max literally saying that the cameras were installed for the tributes. It's impossible to tell when they're watching. That means that they have installed cameras that are a bit more, impossible to find out throughout the house. That's so weird. That's so weird. They are kids. I mean, oh my god, I know they do not have any morals as such, sending kids to fight to death. But also at the same time, somewhere they need to draw that line. And I know they won't draw it for a really long time, but ew. Oh my god, this chapter is pissing me off. It's kind of sad, right? Like, uh, once again, I read the Hunger Games, the trilogy, the original books a long time ago. So I do not really remember how Katniss experienced the few days they had before going into the games. But then we are seeing Hamish have nightmares that are fueled not just from everything that happened today, but also things that have happened in the past and how those things might come to attack him. I am so sad for this poor baby. Snow is always going to be first on the list of people I want to punch the daylights out of. I like how he's thinking about Max and Virus right now from a mentor standpoint and how he's looking for their, mentorship. But also at the same time, he's thinking about the advantages that everyone can bring into the games, and he's starting to think like a tribute who can potentially survive for a long time. I know he's not really gunning to win right now. Like, that's not his motivation. His motivation hasn't changed. But it's both nice and sad to see that shit. Shut up, okay? Hamish being like, oh, Maisley, you're not a breakfast person. That's going to come in handy and really nice, especially if you're not a lunch or a supper person either. Like, it genuinely shows that he is still a kid behind all of those layers of, being the man of the house and trying to take care of everything. Yeah, this is going to make me so sad later on. Hamish, I know you're trying to lighten things up, but that sounds like such a dumb thing. He's just like nice outfit. And White is like, it's the same as yours? What? And he's being very defensive, which fair. Hamish did go off on him last night, but also, oh my god. Say something else. Anything else. Though not something like you snore really loud, and that might be the reason why I don't want you as an ally in the games. Okay, maybe say anything else except for these two things. That's clever. You know that Max and Virus are going to bring in their A game because Max is like, in the earlier games, I didn't ask the tributes what they wanted because the answers seemed so obvious. You want to live. But then I realized there are many desires beyond that. Mine had to do with my district partner protecting him, which is something that we see happen with Katniss. Like, eventually when she's like, oh, there can be two victors, let me protect Peeta. Like, that was her instant reaction. So I like that. And Virus offers, I remember I didn't want to die at night. I didn't want to die in darkness. The thought terrified me. And you know what I like about that? They're asking the question, but also at the same time, they are opening up to these kids to kind of show that they are not in positions of power. Like, yes, they are victors, they have won in the previous games, but also at the same time, they were also tributes. And so they are opening up with the intention of being able to support these kids as much as they want, right? Like, because if Max had simply been like, so what do you want? Immediately, everyone would have responded very defensively, like, and especially with Hamish, because we can hear his internal monologue, he would obviously be like, I want to live. Like, that's such a dumb question. But with Max explaining what she wanted and Virus adding that, she didn't want to die at night, they are, opening up, sharing the intention to mentor them and tell them that, hey, you and I, we were the same. I want to help you. Tell me how I can help you. I really like that. This one line is hitting me so hard. Today, mine had to do with protecting Luella. Now, I mainly think about the people I love, making my death as easy as possible for them. And once again, these are kids. They have to face with the reality of having to die at any point in time. This is an unsafe environment. And I know we know that, but to hear them speak that out loud just hits so hard. It hurts me. And Hamish is like, I don't want my girl and my family to watch me die some long, horrible death. Like, I keep thinking about those weasel mutts a few years ago. They would never get over that. And so it's like, you know what? I may be suffering. I don't want others to suffer. And I feel like that at the core of it all is what Hamish's motivation has been so far. It's like, yeah, me suffering, that's completely all right. I can deal with it. I don't want others to deal with that suffering. And oh, stop it. This book is going to ruin me. I'm so glad I decided to do just one chapter a week because god damn it. Again, I thought that was the end, but apparently Wyatt was like, you know what? No, it's not. He's like, I don't want people who bet on my death being drawn out to make money on it. And it's a reality, right? Like Wyatt knows that he might potentially die. And so he's like, people are going to bet on my death. And that's all right. But I don't want people who bet on my death being drawn out or really long and lengthy to make money out of it. Like, you can bet on my death, that's completely all right. You don't get to bet on my suffering. Oh, shut up with this book. Oh my god. Okay, you know what? No, I'm going to read this out loud. I thought I would just keep it internally, but I want you all to suffer with me. And Hamish goes, it's a shocking thought. Would your family take bets on that? I ask. Wyatt shrugs. Somebody would. I'm sure somebody already has. On yours too. That's how it works. He knows the reality of it all, right? And Maisley is like, I don't want to beg or plead for my life. I want to go out with my head up. And all of them, probably because of what Virus said earlier, that she didn't want to die at night and darkness, and that the thought of that terrified her, that probably has created a bias in everyone's mind because everyone is thinking about how they know that they're going to die, but they're talking about how they don't want their specific deaths to be. And I know that for some, these things might become the reality. Like Maisley wanting to go out with her head up and not wanting to beg for her life or plead for her life. That sounds like something that might happen. And Wyatt being like, I don't want my death being drawn out. It might not really happen that way, but it can also happen. And I don't know how much of this the victors have control over, because at the end of the day, they are not as powerless as the tributes, but they're just as powerless. At the end of the day, it's always the capital who holds that power. While they might not be able to dictate how their life ends, like they don't want it to end, right? But also at the same time, they are like, okay, if something like this happens, we might not essentially be able to provide something that helps them die quicker. But at the same time, they might be able to bribe someone or talk to the capital members or smooth them in some way to ensure that at least that is not being televised. I mean, I don't really know if that might make sense, but they might be able to pull some strings. I don't really know what strings, because at the end of the day, the Hunger Games is entertainment. And watching these tributes suffer is the goal of the Hunger Games, and those who watch it, at least in the capital. So I don't know how many strings they might be able to pull. Oh my god, their deaths are going to just make me suffer. I know that already. God damn it. I want to remind people I'm here because the capital won the war and thinks that 50 years later, this is a fair way to punish the districts. But I would like them to consider that 50 years is enough. Ooh, that was a very diplomatic statement. Like, he wants them to own and show accountability for the deaths that's happening. Like, this is on your hands. All the blood that you see, that's on your hands. And making them aware of that. Oh, I like that. Like, Hamish is like, I guess for starters, by reminding the audience that we are human beings, the way they talk about us, piglets, beasts, they called my fingernails claws. You saw how those kids outside the gym looked at us. Like, they think of us as animals and they think of themselves as superior. So it's okay to kill us. But the people in the capital aren't better than us or smarter. I see where Hamish's thought process is going because it's right with me. But also at the same time, I feel like he has to continue being extremely diplomatic because this can go bad really, really quickly, especially if the capital are watching. If anything, they're stupider, says Maisley, who clearly doesn't give two hoots about the cameras, or she doesn't know that there are cameras in the apartment. Like, Max and Virus told that to Hamish and to Wyatt while they were in the living room. But Maisley was taking a bath, so I don't think Maisley knows there are cameras. Like, yeah, okay, she doesn't care. They are going to die. They can say whatever they want, but also, like, make sure that your death is not going to be pulled out or drawn out, Ooh, yeah, force them to admit we are people too, says Wyatt. And they are the beasts for killing us. Oh, let's go. And Hamish being like, I'm not as clever as Virus. I can't outthink the Elena. And Virus is like, Don't worry, kid. I believe in you. You can do it. It's just a machine at the end of the day, a killing machine, but it is a machine at the end of the day. Anyone can outsmart it. Wyatt, Maisley, and Hamish literally thinking about how they can show it on camera by killing someone else or killing yourself. And I love that. But at the same time, guys, oh my god, doing something like this might affect what happens afterwards. We literally saw that with Katniss when she shows up in the 75th Hunger Games and she cracks through the dome of her arena. That led to District 12 being bombed. And I hear their thought process, and I'm wishing to every god that I know that the capital is potentially not listening right now or not really caring or paying attention. Because if they hear something like this, they are going to take counter measurements. And they're going to either have those counter measurements show up right now before these kids go into the arena, like we saw once again in the 75th Hunger Game. So now how they killed him in front of Katniss. While they're being clever, it can affect others around them. There are consequences to actions. They can just show up with, for example, Lenora Dove killed in front of Hamish before he goes into the Hunger Games. That is something that they can do, or they can potentially do something even worse after the games ends. And so while I love them being clever and trying to show up the capital, I really hope they be smart with it as well. And Max warns them, like, it's something to think over carefully. You could easily put yourself or your allies at risk. And it's not just your allies, it's everyone at home too. Oh my god. Image, I have to say, just say sorry. Like, even though, and he says this, even though everything I said was true, I regret saying it. It's not like I'm perfect. They both get under my skin, but I'm blaming them for too much. They didn't kill Luella or pick me in the reaping or create the Hunger Games. I need to back off. Besides, if I'm going to paint a decent poster in the arena, I'll need time which allies could buy me. You need to be clever, Hamish. Come on, darling. They're kids. They're just like you. Start with sorry. Start with sorry. I wish you would shut up about odds. Just say that out loud. He doesn't know. He can't read your mind, Hamish. Just say that out loud. And I mean, that's his coping mechanism. That's how he's going to deal with the Hunger Games and all that comes with it. And I'm guessing that we are going to have a dialogue about that later on in the arena, but also at the same time, baby, he's just a kid. That one line where Max is like, they'll be holding training at the gym where they groomed you. Kind of shows how deeply integrated and ingrained the thought process of this is. Like, Max knows this as a tribute as well as a victor. But you know, when you exist around a language for long enough, you're going to pick up on the language as well. And so, I mean, it might not even be that, you know, but like they must have heard what the tributes go through at the start of the journey as grooming. And so grooming stuck. I'm really glad they gave us both Virus and Max as two mentors to guide the tributes through this journey, which makes me think, does every district get two members, and what made them go from two victors to mentor tributes to one? Because we only had Hamish for Katniss and Peeta, because it's really helpful, right? Like, Virus is like, friends for me would have been very risky, but Max is like, they were at the top of my list because that was the most important for me, and you must decide for yourselves. Maisley is like, if you're real snoring, I'm just going to put a blanket over your head or wake. If you're really loud, and Wyatt is like, oh, I forgot you'd be there. I guess friends top of my list too. Oh, it's both. This chapter has elements of fun in it, but it's like playing with a dagger, you know. It's fun and games while you're playing with it, but it can very easily stab you. And that's the feeling I'm getting with this chapter. Oh, I love that we have Max and Virus being like, trust your instincts. That's going to be the most important thing inside the arena. Oh, love that. I love Maisley guiding Wyatt on how he should stand, like the body language of it all. That's really powerful. And then Maisley is like, we are from District 12, the crummiest stinkhole in Panem. We are wild like our chariot horses. I slugged our escort, and Hamish called out President Snow. Nobody pushes us around. And White is like, we are unpredictable. And Hamish is like, we are a bunch of loose cannons. That's a pep talk, if I've ever heard one. Hamish is like, everyone in the tribute center, all the tributes are wearing the same outfit, but in different colors. And Hamish is like, sucks for you, District 1, who are looking sickly and not green and buttery yellow, and District 9 makes them About as threatening as a hat full of baby chicks. That's hilarious. And they're like black because they're minors. Ringina, we meet her, and I am pretty sure she's going to potentially die with knives. Just as an FYI. That's how I think that's going to go. Why? Okay, so Hamish just got hit by Paniche, and as he did, the basket full of knives kind of fell down, and everyone has knives in their hands. And as soon as Hamish gets up, he's like, "Oh, I am armed," and they are armed, and everyone else around him is armed, like a half dozen of tributes holding sleek, deadly knives. And I see that there aren't many peacekeepers here today, and I'm betting he's like, I am going to cause a rebellion right now. Let's go. Like, we outnumber them 4-1, but also at the same time, baby, I get it, but also you need to plan your moves right. You can't just go about killing people and hurting people, as fun as it sounds, because it needs to have an impact. Ooh, I hope he doesn't go ahead and just as much as he wants to. Hamish is like, we could have done some damage, as he and Regina like talking about. And I'm pretty sure I'm saying her name wrong. I am so sorry. I've been reading books all my life. I don't know how to pronounce 90% of the things. No, not really, but also at the same time, what you gonna do about it? How are you gonna fight me? No, I'm sorry. But Ringina is like, we could have taken them, and Hamish is like, we could have done at least some damage, at least a little, possibly a considerable amount. Someone says behind me. I turn to see Plutarch. He waves his camera crew over to record the knife training, but his attention stays on me. The question is, why didn't you? Ooh, okay. I am glad Hamish didn't start a rebellion right in the gym, because once again, it would not have led to a favorable outcome. Like, it would have just led to a space of like, yeah, we killed some peacekeepers, they killed us back, ha ha ha. Nothing really happened. And so Hamish, like he was talking with Measley and Wyatt, his intention is for this to be televised. His intention is to show people that we are not just a smattering of uprising. This is not something that comes from the grief of potentially dying. This is because we are angry, and we want to show you that we are angry and that we are not animals. Because if they had done this, if they had actually fought in the gym right now, they might have won, not easily, let's say, but like they might have still done a lot of damage. It would not have led to a favorable impact, because people would have been like, look at them fighting like animals. That's exactly why we put them in the Hunger Games, for them to remember why we go through this pain. Like, the narrative could have been shifted so beautifully against the districts that they would have actually pushed back any potential uprising. And so I like that they did not go ahead and fight them. But also, yeah, I am actually very excited to see what happens next. I feel like this chapter, while it hurt a bit, it was a bit more tactical, which I liked. It was rage-inducing. It just made me feel like, oh, they're just kids. They're kids fighting against a monarchy. They're kids fighting against being oppressed. And I feel like I am glad that this chapter existed. I'm glad that it wasn't pain, because it would have definitely made me want to pause this book for a longer duration in time, until I felt a bit more mentally like, in a better place to continue with this book. Like, I know there is going to be pain. We have a lot of kids who are going to die in these games, but it's something that's going to happen a few chapters later. And so I like that there's tactical elements built in, and I really, really like that. Liked Mags and Virus actually helping these tributes. I'm really excited for the next chapter. Let me know what you thought about chapter 7 of Sunrise on the Reaping down in the comments, and I will see you next week with chapter 8. Until then, like, share, subscribe, comment, share your theories, share your thoughts. Also, please, no spoilers. Just as an FYI, I haven't read the book. Blind reacting to it as we go, and I haven't recorded a bunch of these chapters ahead of time. So I'm literally recording every chapter every week it comes out. So I'm not like far ahead in the book. I just finished reading chapter 7, and you'll probably see this sometime during this week. So please, no spoilers. Whatever thoughts you have contained to chapter 7, share them in the comments down below. And I'll see you next week with chapter 8. Until then, bye-bye. Thank you for being here. Let's go.